I've been putting this off for a little while and I really can't do it anymore. So I need to pull my finger out and get this done. So some of you may know that my kayak has, it's called a push motor. So this thing fits underneath the kayak in the skeg slot. And currently, for the last year, I've used this battery setup. There's two 30 amp batteries in there, which give me about 45 minutes each, which is great for short runs and stuff like that, but you have to bring them home, charge them up, ready for next week, the next time you go out, or, you know, long weekend. So what I want to do now is basically build a power bank. So these three are 100 amp each, and everything is 24 volt, because this little kitty here is a 24 volt motor. So the plan is, ignore that is supposed to be 100 amp, is I'm going to keep one of my original 30 amps and I'm going to bring that down to 12 volts so I can run, I don't know, fish finder, charge a back phone, whatever. And the other three are going to be purely for the motor itself. Plan is to get a battery monitor in there, and then the whole thing is going to be mounted into the hard case in there. So what we've got is the battery monitor. Because it is 30 amp, we're using some more heavy duty sort of wiring, so nothing's going to overheat. And what I've also done is I've found out from the manufacturer basically what type of cables and things that we've got going on here. So this is the original system, and this is basically my extension with the old sort of plugs. Now it's been okay, but they were an arseache to get soldered in. So what I'm going to be doing is removing this side of it. I'm going to keep some of this original cabling because that goes on to the brains of the motor, and then that obviously all links in with their own wiring. I found out what type of connections these were, these waterproof things, because they look decent, they're waterproof and everything works. So I've managed to find the right ones for the setup I'm going to be using on this. And then one of those will be going onto that and then into the power bank. So keeping everything original and better connections. So, like I said, I've got all the parts. I've been putting it off like all winter because I've had this stuff sitting around for quite a while. Batteries are kept a charge, which is great. So yeah, it's time to actually get started with this. So here we go. So I've needed to do a bit of a rejig on the video because I realised that the plugs that I had originally are only 10 amp. The motor pulls 25, so basically these plugs will be burning out. There'll be issues, so we don't want that. So I've since ordered the 25 amp plugs, and it's a size difference right there, so they're just bigger, chunkier, more for the job. Also, what I wanted to do is put a plug on each of the batteries so I can isolate, remove a battery if I need to. Also help with charging. So we've got a plug on that end on all three of those, and then we'll be putting the male end going off into the rest of the loom as normal there. So I've got to reconstruct this bit as well. But yeah, so a little bit back to the drawing board when I realised what was going on. The 12 volt step down system, that is staying on a 10 amp, mainly because the fuse in here is actually a 5 amp. That's never really going to draw much, you know, because that's like fish finder, maybe charge a phone or something, but nothing drastic on that side. But anyway, that side of it's done on there. Obviously I needed to do a new hole for this side, but yeah, so here we go, almost there, more soldering to be done. Okay, So we've got on to the next stage here. All of the batteries have their individual 25 amp plugs, and we now have the other part of the loom. So it means I can isolate any of the batteries, I can disconnect, take one off. Also means safer charging, because when I charged these the other day, the one charger was trying to charge all three of them, and I wasn't confident that it could actually do it without causing an issue, fire, etc. So I still keeping the original charge plugs, so it just means I'll be charging these on their own. You're probably asking, why all the extra stuff? Well, these are lithium batteries. They are notorious for blowing up, causing fires and all sorts, normally when they're being charged. So my rule when it comes to these batteries is that they will only ever get charged in my shed, which is a metal shed, and only during the day. I've seen too many stories, worked in insurance, seen the claims. I just don't want to take the risk. And by adding in this additional bits of security and safety, it just means that it's less likely to happen. So anyway, all I need to do now is connect the very end part. This is the one that actually goes into the box here, and yeah, and then attach that to the main motor cable, and then we're done. So almost there. And obviously that fuse is a 25 amp fuse as well in there. Right, all boxes all connected up now. So just a reminder, this is the 24 volt step down to 12, and that is for fish finders, etc. So that was pretty much finished a while ago. Then we've got the three 24 volt batteries, which are all connected individually. That goes down to a 30 amp fuse. We've got the battery monitor on there, and then into the lid. And I need to rehash the wires a little bit. There you go. Right, onto lid. That is the 24 volt port. That is the 12 volt and monitor. Once the batteries are fully charged, I need to reprogram the monitor, but the main thing is it's showing me what I want right now, so that's great. When that's finished, all I do is pop a piece of foam across the top. There's a foam that goes in the lid, which is just here, and close it. And once it's shut, I already know that none of those are going to be running around in the box, and that is what I want. So that basically holds everything in place to what I want, and that gives me room here for the cables as well. I may cut this bottom piece of foam out a bit more to get a bit more room, because that's a inch thick down there, just so that I have a little bit extra room for this part of the loom that I've got here. But yeah, I'm happy with that. It all works. I know that the system works with the motor already. I just need to connect that last one to the actual motor wiring, and then that's all done. Happy days. It means I can run the motor for the entire weekend without having to stop, charge, because the little batteries I had, they were only 30 amp. These guys are all 100 amps. So I've got 300 amps of battery, which will more than last me for the entire weekend of usage, or several sessions, whichever. And that one is just there. I've got one spare one left over. Don't know what I'll do with that, but I'll figure it out, or sell it, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, so happy with that. Power bank, power system, battery system, whatever you want to call it, is all done for the kayak now. The reason I've gone for the plugs and things that I have is because I'm trying to keep everything as waterproof, water resistant as I can, because you know lithium and water don't tend to mix. That's why it's in the type of case that it's in, and I'll also be silicone sealing around that, and then a little bit around there as well. the little one there, that's all sealed properly. But yeah, right, so everything is done. I've got the nice new 25 amp connector on there. The motor is also connected. As you can see, this is the motor itself. A bit different to what you guys are used to, but less weight, less faff for me, which is what I want. That is the brains of the motor, the remote. So try this out. This is all keyed. There we go. There we go. So it's starting to think about itself. Now that light needs to be steady.